Right, so today I want to talk about something that is potentially quite controversial. It's something that I've thought about a lot over the last few years, really. And it is that I think that there are a lot of similarities between someone who follows a carnivore diet and someone who follows a vegan diet. Now, clearly, there are polar extremes on these two diets. You've got one that eats only animal based products or only animals, and the other one that eats only plant based and nothing that even comes from an animal, not even milk or eggs or anything like that. So, of course, in that respect, they couldn't be any more different. They are literally the opposite. But what I've kind of noticed is that within vegan communities, and if you speak to a vegan, a lot of their beliefs come from the fact that they don't believe in animal cruelty or the mistreating of any animals at all. Um, and then also from my side, I'm someone that does eat a lot of meat, and I am members of lots of different meat-based communities on online and social media and things like that. And unless there's some kind of like psycho idiot, then the general consensus of most people that within these communities is that they also don't like animal cruelty, right? The big difference is that meat eaters are um, open, obviously, to eating the meat that comes from an animal that has been killed. Um, Whereas vegans obviously don't. They think that the death of an animal or the killing of an animal for its meat is animal cruelty. But I mean, this is where I think it becomes very kind of interesting as a conversation, maybe. But every living thing that gets blessed with life has to die at some point. You can't get away from that. That is just the way it is. Um, so everything must die. And I know that for me, and I know that many others within the meat eating communities, I would much rather eat an animal that has, let's say, a cow, for example. It lives in the pastures and it eats blades of grass and lives a generally good life. That its owners, its farmers, whatever, they treat that animal well. They even, to some extent, in many cases, they love their animals. Um, and that's what I don't want to eat meat that comes from an animal that's been mistreated in any way because there's just no need for it. And I think that's the difference, or I think that's the similarity at least between carnivores and vegans, or not even just carnivores, but people who eat meat and people that don't eat meat. That that we both agree that we don't actually want an animal to be mistreated. They live their life, and then at a certain point, they get humanely killed, and we eat their meat for sustenance. One life is sacrificed for another life to carry on. That is the circle of life, and we can see this in the animal kingdom on National Geographic or any kind of nature program. It's the way that we do it actually, when it's done correctly, when it's done well, is actually very humane and gives the animal the best possible life and the best possible end to its life. If you watch how like a lion will kill its prey, it will start eating it before it's even dead. It's that animal is not having a great death, to be honest with you. First of all, it's hunted, so it's got the stress of that, and then it literally just gets eaten. They don't go, okay, we'll kill it first, then eat it. In most cases, they'll just start eating that thing. Nature, Mother Nature, this world is both beautiful and gruesome all at the same time. And unfortunately, I believe that our modern world has kind of domesticated us, um, so that we've lost touch of that circle of life thing. Because I think that one of the things that I do agree with is that we don't have a good appreciation for the food we eat, for the circle of life, for the life that's sacrificed for us to carry on. We've lost that. And I think that if we went back to our hunter-gatherer times, there would have been a much bigger appreciation for that. You imagine like taking a life. It can't be an easy thing. It must be, it's a necessary thing. It's a thing for survival. But I think for humans, with the empathy and feelings that we have, that we've been blessed with, I think that it would have been a big deal. I think that having that food and eating that sustenance would have been almost like a spiritual thing. It would be much more in touch with Mother Nature. So in that respect, I do think that actually, I think that vegans can tend to just put all meat eaters into the kind of barbaric bracket, and I just don't think that is the case. I think that we all are humans. We all have the same emotions and feelings, and there are some people out there that I don't know, for whatever reason, are not very nice. Maybe there's some history there, something going on in something that's happened in their life that's got them to that way, and they don't care that much about other living things. But I know for myself, and I know for many others, that is not the case. So yeah, I'd be interested to know what you think of that, if you've got any thoughts on that, and I'm interested to see the comments, because I'm sure that I'll get some pushback, and I'm sure there are going to be many people that really don't agree with me, and that's fine. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, right? But for me, I found that meat makes me feel great, feel healthy, look healthy, whereas not having so much meat, I start going the other way. But if it works for you, that's fine. I've got no issues with it. I've got no issues with anyone being all plant-based, or but my main thing is that, look, if it's real food, if it's food that you would find out in nature, that we can we could get with our own two hands, like as if we were a hunter-gatherer, then great. If it's food that doesn't take machinery or any kind of electricity, and we can literally like make it with just our own hands, and there's no ultra processing involved in it, and if you feel great with that, then amazing. Crack on with that. But the truth of the matter is that all life comes to an end at some point. Your life, my life, we will all perish. And if a cow lives a good life, or whatever animal we eat, it leads a good life and enjoys their life while they're alive, and is kind of loved by their owners, then surely it makes sense to me that their flesh, once they've passed, gets put to good use, because that's the whole point of it. Because even if we don't physically eat it, if it was just, if it just decomposed, those nutrients would go into the ground, and then they would breed life in the form of grass or whatever. It would fertilize that. So either way, it doesn't matter. It all gets consumed. I think it's an interesting conversation. So let me know what you think. Check out some of my other videos as well if you think this is interesting. My philosophy is about trying to help people who are trying to be as healthy as possible but struggling, to try and figure out what they should actually be eating and how they should be living as almost like wild humans in this modern world, because I think that we've lost touch of that. We've had information implanted into our brains from day one, and we don't question it. If things aren't working out health-wise, weight-wise, whatever, we don't think to question that information. We just say that maybe we're doing something wrong, or maybe it's a genetic thing, maybe there's something wrong with us personally, and that's why we can't achieve the health that we want, or the weight that we want, or whatever. But in my experience, that is just not the truth. The truth is that the information that we've been given, I don't think in most cases is correct, and we need to think about how we would have lived as a wild human. And then if you can think about it in that way, forget about everything that you've been told, you can figure out how to eat. So that's my philosophy. That's my tool that I'm giving you to do, to figure out not just that for food, but for anything in life. So give it a go, see how you get on, and I'll see you in the next video.